what is the psyche right now for, maybe you can talk to the average seller psyche, and Michael, you can talk to the average buyer psyche right now.
So everybody, coming from a seller's aspect, everybody's still feeling the hangover from what was happening, 6 months ago, right? Everybody really still truly believes that their house is made of gold, right? And they deserve 300% more equity than what it's currently worth, right? So unfortunately, it's been an adjustment period for the sellers. But I do think that with interest rates not being so aggressively higher than they are, or currently have gotten to, I think people are generally coming to the mindset of, okay, we spiked way too high, way too quick, and now realistically, rather than, worrying about what my house was worth in 2016, 17, and 18, it's still worth way more than that right now.
Yeah.
So although it's not at the peak where it was last year, we only lost about 20% off of that, but it's still 80% more than what it was in 2016. Right?
Yeah, I had this conversation
the
with a seller,
not the home.
Yeah. I had this conversation with a client the other day. They're like, "Well, yeah. Middle of COVID, I could have got $1.6 million, and I'm probably going to take $1.4 million." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I understand. That's really frustrating." I'm like, "We did your loan, 8 years ago. What'd you buy it for?" They're like, $470. I'm like, oh, so you bought in Eagle Rock, California at the perfect time at the bottom of the market in 2012 or whatever for $470. You're now going to sell it for $1.4 million instead of $1.6 million. Oh, let me pull out the world's smallest violin that you made $1 million. And by the way, I'm a nutcase about databasing, so I can go back and look at all my previous leads. And I looked at that and I was like, we pulled together this $400,000 loan by the skinny skin of our skinny skin teeth. And I was
so you couldn't even get the loan.
I was like, it was a miracle you got into this $470,000 house. I should be getting like a 20% commission on that $1 million equity, but I didn't say that. I was much more polite than that.
People are becoming more realistic though. Yeah. Right?
So do you think, because whatever news cycle you watch, whether it's MSNBC or Fox News or whatever, that they're starting to use the word recession? They're talking about, I don't want to get too political, but I can only imagine if there was still a Trump type person in office. Last year, 2022, was the worst year in recorded history if you had that 60-40 blend of stocks and bonds, because stocks got their ass kicked. And then because interest rates went up so fast, bonds got their ass kicked. And I didn't hear a whole lot about it. I think if the media was still full frontal assault against Trump, everybody and their brother would be freaking out, because they'd be like, have you guys heard how much the stock market is down? And it was kind of just like a blip on the radar. But last year was real bad financially. Has that helped the sellers come in line with like, oh, my stock portfolio is down, whatever price of this is down, maybe my house price is down? Is that getting into the psyche of the homeowner?
Yes, but the things that have happened on Wall Street have actually hindered us, because those people have kind of buckled down. I'm not going to make any transition. I'm going to stay until things correct. So that recession word, although no one wants to talk about the elephant in the room, right? It's a real thing when it comes to people of wealth. Now, when you deal with people that really don't pay attention to that type of shit, right? They made some drastic moves, and a lot of people sold, got their equity, and now they're in an overpriced rental, right? Got it. But, in the grand scheme of things, like you said, it's all cyclical. It's all going to come around, right? So Wall Street will make a turn, right? And it's already happened. The Treasury bonds are still, our correction. The correction on that is pretty good. Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, people of wealth that are in, especially from my standpoint, from a seller standpoint, have paid attention to that, and they've put the brakes on things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that's why you didn't see a lot of inventory too. Although interest rates were lower than they are right now, and home prices were high, the stock market sucked. Yeah. So there was two things with that. If I do sell my home, grab the equity, where the fuck do I go?
Yeah, where am I going to put it?
And at the end of the day, my portfolio is down, 30%. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to stay right where I'm at.
That totally makes sense.